It's the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show, brought to you by Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and SRI Supplies. Here's tonight's Speed 77 Radio Race Chaser Online Crew Chief, Tom Baker.
Welcome to another edition of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Another Thursday night of motorsports conversation here on PMN. My name is Tom Baker, and I am joined by my Race Chaser Online.com colleague, Marshall Gabel. We're going to have Kyle Souza and Kyle Magda joining us at the round table here eventually. As we get through this show, we have several guests from the motorsports world that we're going to be talking with, and of course discussion about all kinds of Speed Weeks related events, and a look forward at what's coming up this weekend. So settle in and grab your favorite beverage and get ready to talk racing with us here on the Performance Motorsports Network. It was the Daytona 500, and it was a race that failed in one very good way. There was no big one except for who won the race, which was Joey Logano in victory lane for the first time in the Daytona 500.
And what a tremendous race it was. Up until the final 15 laps, I think we can all say that that's some of the best racing that we've seen arguably within Daytona history. It was just that great. We had three wide racing throughout the field, and then for Logano to be able to get up there and take away the Hendrick power and be able to soar into victory lane. I mean, he was the only Ford within the top 9. Greg Biffle was the other one back in 10th. So for him to be up there alone, no teammates, and then he had some of his cohorts, Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney, who were both Penske-affiliated teams or in the Penske organization, who had engine issues, and he's sitting there up in the lead, and he's waiting for his to go, and luckily it didn't, and he got his first win in a big way, and the emotion in victory lane said it all pretty much. He was ecstatic.
It really did, and yeah, he was ecstatic, and I was excited for him and happy for his crew chief, Todd Gordon, as well. A fun little fact about Todd Gordon. Todd is originally from the central part of New York State, where I was born and raised, and Todd, when he was in college at Clemson University in their engineering program for his senior project, built himself a small block Super Modify, which is an open cockpit type race car, open wheel, open cockpit type car, and brought it to the Oswego Speedway with no prior experience at the track in the division, and won a race with it, and has gone on to some pretty impressive things over the course of his career, working on various NASCAR teams, and of course climbed the ranks from the now Xfinity Series to the Sprint Cup Series with Roger Penske. And just great to see Todd get that win. They were in the chase hunt last year, right to the end. So that's a team that I really honestly believe is going to be a strong team for a long time to come. Those two, Marshall, seem to have tremendous chemistry.
Oh, they absolutely do have tremendous chemistry. And, you know, that race was really one that came down to the final laps. It certainly came down to some intense racing towards the end, and then, of course, a caution in the late stages.
Marshall, let's address that. I'm curious what your thoughts were about that caution.
You know, with what happened with Kyle Busch in the Xfinity Series race, and for him to get into the wall, I mean, it's certainly a safety thing that NASCAR had to go by there. And when they saw it pile up at the back, I mean, and the safety cars were dispatched, I mean, you had to throw the caution at that point. But the thing that really spewed over to social media was the problem that everyone assumed that it shouldn't have been thrown. And I mean, the other conversation that came up was the green-white checkered rule and how it needed to be altered and all this stuff. And, you know, as much as all these rules are getting changed in NASCAR, I mean, it's really not allowing any new fans to be able to come in and understand everything. But I mean, back to the discussion.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
And let me stop you there because you addressed an issue that I addressed on Monday night, and I'll address it here again. NASCAR has two rules that apply to the end of a race, and the rules, I believe, totally by accident, which is an interesting choice of words in itself, I suppose, but the rules conflict. One rule is that once the leader takes the white flag, the next flag automatically ends the race, whether it's a caution or a checkered. Now, when you put yourself in that situation, then you have to make a judgment if you have a wreck in the last lap. Is the wreck of such a nature that it warrants a caution flag and finishing the race under yellow, or is it not of that type of nature and you could just go ahead and race back to the line? But the problem is you also have another rule that was put in several years ago that you will have up to 3 attempts at a green, white, checkered finish. We were on attempt 1. And so if the situation we had over the weekend is that on Saturday, the Xfinity Series race, they had a wreck on the last lap, decided it wasn't a bad enough wreck or situation that warranted a caution. So they raced back to the line and we had a change of lead and a win by Rex Reed on the last lap pass. On Sunday, they made the quick judgment that the wreck was of a nature that warranted the caution, therefore freezing the field and giving the win. Ryan Reed, not Rex Reed. Thank you. Rex Reed is from the Gong Show from years ago. And on Sunday, they had a rule that warranted, they had a judgment that they said this warrants a caution. So the field gets frozen. There's no opportunity to make the pass for the win. And Joey Logano is thankful for that. My contention is you can solve this judgment simply by going to your green, white, checkered rule. We're going to always go to the third green, white, checkered. If by that point you've done this 3 times and they still can't stop wrecking, well, at that point, you put out the caution or the checkered. You tell them it's over. Sorry, boys, you just can't get it right. We tried, and that's it. And then probably by then there's 3 or 4 cars left anyway, so, it is what it is. My contention here is that NASCAR's put themselves in a box where they have to always decide caution, no caution, when they have a rule that would do that for them. We're going to throw the caution. We're going to line them up. We're going to do it again. And if they wreck again, we're going to throw the caution. We're going to line them up and do it again. If it takes 45 minutes longer, at least you're giving the fans every opportunity for a green flag finish. And that's, to me, what we all are trying to get to here with the various sides that we're taking in this. We really would like to have seen a green flag finish to see if Kevin Harvick or anyone else could have stolen this thing. And we didn't get to do that.
We absolutely didn't. And you mentioned something about NASCAR being in a box right there. Well, the other way to get out of that box would be if you don't want to have to throw the caution to reset the field on the white flag lap, simply let them race back to the line like they used to do on every caution. Obviously, that proposed some dangers, but I mean, now on the white flag, if a caution was to come out, let them race back to the line. Don't get off the throttle and just keep going. Of course, if the wreck isn't, right after the start-finish line or something like that. If it was on the backstretch, then let them keep going. Or you can just simply, throw a caution, and that'll just pretty much shut it down if it was on the front stretch. But, I mean, you said it perfectly. NASCAR's put themselves in a box, and now they're going to have to find their way out of it.
Well, yeah, it's just that, and you're right, to a fan who doesn't really understand the sport like you or I do, they're looking at that going, well, I don't get what all this controversy is about, and, there's a green, white. Well, what's a green, white checker? Well, wait a minute. Well, then why didn't they do that? Well, because it's a judgment. Well, why, so you're exactly right. I think for the quote unquote novice fan, Sunday's ending was probably a bit of confusion and certainly probably disappointing as well that it ended under a yellow flag. Kyle Magda, I'm gonna let you weigh on this very quickly. We're talking about the caution flag that was thrown on Sunday at the end of the race. Give us a quick 30 seconds on your opinion. Should it have been thrown? Should we have gone green, white, checkered? What do you think?
I think NASCAR was put in the box there, like you said, Tom, with the Xfinity race. The wreck didn't seem so bad yet. Sunday's race, you saw Kyle Larson take a pretty big hit there in the end. So I think it could have went either way Sunday. And you know, just to say something quick, ARC does not finish under the caution. In some of those races, the number one race I saw went 22 laps in overtime. So just think of that. So, but I think it was just, it was just a tough call for NASCAR to make on Sunday.
It was a very tough call. And but congratulations to Joey Logano. Okay, real quick, Marshall, I'm going to start with you in about 30 seconds or less. Biggest surprise of the Daytona 500?
The biggest surprise for me would have had been for not so many underdogs being able to contend. I know we had Casey Mears up in the top 5, but we certainly did not see the underdogs like it was made up to be. There was no Front Row Motorsports up there or anything like that. So the biggest surprise was for not as many underdogs to be in contention.
Kyle Magda, 30 seconds or less. Biggest surprise?
Biggest surprise for me, probably the 2 Penske engines blowing up. I did not expect that. And then you saw Joey Logano in victory lane. So, with Ryan Blaney and Brad Keselowski. So just, a good break for that team.
I'm going to say my biggest surprise was the fact that the Hendrick operation just dominated the race pretty much, then didn't get the win. Jeff Gordon leading 87 laps. Disappointing to see him end on the hook, but that's how the sport goes sometimes. We're going to talk more about Speed Weeks, about the Daytona 500, of course, the Friday and Saturday races as well, and also the short track stuff. When we return, you are listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest. At WinYourNewCar.com, complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant, so why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
My very first movie, it was called British Terabithia, and that was a film that a lot of kids loved.
From IamSecond.com.
It felt very cool in my heart to know that I did something nice.
Actress Bailey Madison.
I don't want it to be about me, I want it to be about God. Even though you have an earth father, he is your father, that you can say to him, God, I'm not feeling too well today. Or if it's just, little things like, I feel homesick, or I need you, Lord. I need to feel happiness in my heart. The most important thing is you have to have hope. You have to have faith. God is with you, and God is with you every step of the way. If you give yourself to God and you say, I'm ready to commit myself to you, you will know that God is watching you. He looks down and he goes, I'm very, very happy with what you just did. My name is Bailey Madison, and I am second.
The Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show continues now on the Performance Motorsports Network. And here's your host, Tom Baker.
Welcome back. Talking motorsports on a Thursday night here on the Performance Motorsports Network. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. Tom Baker along with Marshall Gabel and Kyle Magda. Kyle Souza going to be joining us a little bit later on in the program. And guys, we talked about the Daytona 500. Let's back up one day and spend some time talking about the Xfinity Series event, the inaugural Xfinity Series event, I might add, that took place on Saturday last week. As I mentioned, Ryan Reed getting the win. I suppose he doesn't mind if I call him Rex as long as I call him winner, because he's still going to cash the check either way. But Marshall, Rick, wow, I can't get it straight now. Ryan Reed, big surprise, little surprise, or no surprise at all?
Oh, geez. Since it's Daytona, it can't really be a huge surprise because, David Starr finished 6th in a TriStar Motorsports machine. So I don't think it's a huge surprise to some people who haven't watched the Xfinity Series too much and are just mainly watching it because it's Daytona. It could seem like a huge surprise, but to me, it seemed like a mediocre surprise, I guess. It is Roush Fenway Racing. Ryan Reed's not a horrible driver. He started 8th. He had successful runs last season, and he led 14 laps during the event. So to me, it wasn't that big of a surprise. I think the bigger surprise for me was actually that Brad Keselowski got overtaken on the last lap. It was common sense not to get out to a huge lead, and he ended up in that position coming down the back straightaway, and then the Roush Fenway teammates ganged up on him and zoomed on by. But Tom, yeah, I would call it a mediocre surprise. I don't really know how much you can mess with surprises at Daytona.
Kyle Magda, what say you on this issue?
I'm going to say no surprise, and the reason why I say that is because those Roush cars, they were fast the entire race, whether it was Bubba Wallace, Ryan Reed, Chris Buescher, all led laps, all running up at the front. And like you guys said, Ryan Reed timed that move perfectly at the end. And, getting the help with Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski blocks Ryan Reed, the race is over, and Ryan Reed just pulled that move off to perfection. So I'll say no surprise because he has shown the strength on super speedways like Daytona and Talladega, leading the Talladega last spring, and then, of course, leading some of the July race, getting a top 5 finish, then running for the Dash for Cash. So I still feel for Kyle Busch, with that impact in the inside wall with the no safer barrier, but that's racing, and but they will fix that, which is good to hear after the Daytona 500. So, but really, like Marshall said, there's really not a surprise at Daytona. It's a crapshoot. All 43 cars or 40 cars for the Xfinity race have a shot. They enter the race unless they don't start in park. They all have a shot to win.
Absolutely, and you mentioned it right there a little earlier in your remarks. You said something about Keselowski, if he would have blocked Reed's charge or not. I feel he was going so much slower because he didn't have the draft that if he would have blocked Ryan, it would have caused a huge stack up, or Chris Buescher, the 4th place car, would have just cut to the inside or outside and went on by, because that's just how much momentum you get from the draft. But moving on to your final points, Tom, I want to get your 2 cents on this, because I know that it was a big discussion over Speed Weeks, and it really put a dwelling on the Daytona 500. But Kyle Busch's injury, the compound fracture in the right foot, the surgery this morning, or yesterday rather, on the left foot. It just a horrible situation for NASCAR, really.
Well, it was, and I guess it brings up the unfortunate point that in this day and age, with all of the time that we've had since Dale Earnhardt's passing in that crash back in 2001, you're talking 14 years. I don't, for the life of me, I don't understand why every single track on the NASCAR national circuit that runs any of the 3 major series does not have safer barriers all the way around the track, inside and outside. I surely don't understand why Daytona didn't have it there. I know that as soon as the accident happened, you saw, Joey Chitwood being very clear that they will have safer barriers there going forward. They put some tire barriers there the next day, which those things can be as bad as concrete in a lot of ways, but was better probably than not having anything. And so I think every track that runs the NASCAR Big Three Major Series, whether it's an oval or a road course, it doesn't matter if it's a short track, a medium track, or a large track, super speedway, at this point ought to have, by the sanctions requirement, safer barriers anywhere that the cars could possibly make contact, because that accident should never have happened. It's cost Kyle Busch probably, we'll say 4 to 6 months at least of his racing career, and certainly of his season this year. And we'll talk about, by the way, the ramifications of that with the 18 car a little later on in the program. Certainly been an interesting scenario over the last few days on that. But Marshall, I have to say that that accident right there really did put a bit of a pall over the Daytona 500 on Sunday, although it was good for Matt Crafton to get an opportunity to actually run that event.
Yeah, Crafton did get the call to jump up there and run the 18 and actually wheeled it to a top 20 finish. But going back to the safer barrier discussion, I mean, I guess stupid me, I had already thought up in my mind that we had safer barriers covering a super speedway at least.
Actually did too.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's a spot in the track where, even if you're racing on the Rolex 24 circuit, the road course at Daytona, that's not even a wall that is affected by that. So that's a wall going right into turn 1. That's right on a front stretch where you're going into a corner at upwards in the Sprint Cup Series 200 miles per hour and even 190 in the Xfinity Series. So it seems appalling to me that there would not be a safer barrier in that location. I mean, on the backstretch, there's even safer barriers now. It's just so, Kyle, it's just so confusing how there wouldn't be at Talladega and Daytona, and we've seen already tracks make new ramifications, saying Atlanta's adding them. Kentucky's adding them, which is great.
Yeah, and that did baffle me a little bit with Kyle Busch. I really thought that Daytona would have put safer barriers up there. And I think I said on Monday Night Show is the wreck that Elliott Sadler had at Pocono back in 2010, I mean, that's probably one of the hardest hits I've ever seen. And with no safer barrier, just pounding that inside guardrail. And just a terrible wreck. Luckily, got to race the next week. So, I mean, they need more tracks need to start adding all safer barriers all around the track, because when you hit the wrong angle, and just like with Denny Hamlin's crash back in 2013 as well, you hit the wrong angle there, and it just, that could just make an injury right there, and that, we don't want to see that. And since the last 15 years or so, we've come, the sport's come so far with safety, and, we still don't have safer barriers all around the racetrack, and, we haven't had any driver deaths, thankfully, in these last 10 or so years, and there was that stand in 18 months. I mean, we lost Dale Earnhardt, we lost a few other drivers, and that was really a dark time. But, with NASCAR, with the Hans device and the safer barriers, I mean, they've just progressed so much here in the last 15 years or so.
Yeah, they really have. And Bob Steele, our producer, pointing out that they did start construction on Monday morning on the safer barriers Daytona, a little late for Kyle Busch. And we certainly wish Kyle well and wish him a speedy recovery so we can get him back in the car. And again, we will talk more about the ramifications of that and the subsequent driver change in the 18 car for Atlanta and forward a little later on in the program. Let's segue over to Friday night's Truck Series event at Daytona, again featuring a massive crash that involved what seemed like half the field. And very quickly, Marshall, another very happy winner who will be joining us in just a matter of moments, Tyler Reddick getting the win, and his teammate Austin Terrio figuring into that finish as well.
We talked to Tyler Reddick a few weeks ago on this show, I believe, and he was very confident heading into the season, but I don't think anyone, even himself, predicted that he could come out and win the opening race at Daytona, just given it's a crapshoot, but he dominated the race, and that was most shocking to me, and I can't wait to talk to him here in a few minutes.
Yeah, Tyler's going to be joining us, and Austin will be joining us shortly thereafter coming up. Kyle, Magda, a wild race on Friday night. What was most shocking for you?
Yeah, I thought the finish was going to be a lot closer. That 4 wide at the end, that took my breath away there with Ray Black Jr. right all the way below the yellow line. But, just there was just so much. The Truck Series produces great racing, at least I think it does. And, the wreck kind of baffled me a little bit because, they were coming up on that slower truck of Ben Kennedy. And I don't know whether he had anything to do with it or not because he was out of the groove up on the top. I don't know if someone just brake checked or what happened, but it just kind of caused a stack up there. But, some surprises for me. It was probably those top finishers. Scott Legacy finishing 4th. Austin Carroll getting 3rd and, helping Tyler most of the race. So just so many things. And I also think Aaron Jones's 3-wide pass there for 2nd at the end, just only a 2nd start on a super speedway.
Yeah, I didn't see Eric's finish being a surprise at all. I expected him to be contending for the win at the end. Definitely give my surprise to Ray Black Jr. on his top 5. What a career day for that young man who's from the Daytona Beach area, racing at quote-unquote home track. Nice run for Ray Black Jr., who also was a recent guest on this show. With that, we are going to talk to Tyler Reddick in just a moment. You're listening to the Stock Car Still SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
In the Pits Media is proud to present its newest partner, WinYourNewCar.com. That's right, you now can enter the #1 American Dream Car Contest giveaway at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right in the end of the game. 4th quarter, 4th down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
If you're a gearhead, you probably go online to those hot rod superstores, drooling over the chrome and speed goodies until you find just the right item for your muscle car, tuner car, or truck. But what do you do when it comes to fixing the mom mobile? If you're like most do-it-yourselfers, you head to the strip mall parts store and talk to the "Do you want fries with that?" kid behind the counter. Hold on, Bunky. Did you stop to think where those chain stores are getting the parts that you're installing in the vehicle that's used to transport your family everywhere? They get the cheapest suppliers they can find to sell you the parts at bargain prices. Their limited lifetime warranties? What a joke. Remember the last time Mom's car broke down? You heard about that one for weeks. Don't take that chance again. Excelsior Racing has the quality parts you need for your family vehicle. Parts that you can install knowing you're getting the best for your family. Excelsior Racing. Quality parts, personalized service, affordable pricing, fast to you direct. Excelsior Racing. Online at excelsiorracing.com or call 502-909-2034.
Hi everybody, this is Getty Lee for RAD. To many of us, drunk driving is something that other people do. Certainly not one of our friends or relatives would do such a thing. When you see someone who's had too much to drink, about to get into a car, urge them to give up the keys and find alternate transportation. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, you should too.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Tyler Dipple, driver in the Pass South Series. Let's send it back to Speed 77 Radio, Stock, Car Steel, SRI Motorsports Show, here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to tonight's show. Tom Baker along with Marshall Gabell and Kyle Magda, all of us from RaceChaserOnline.com. And we are talking now with Tyler Reddick, the winner of Friday night's Camping World Truck Series race at the Daytona International Speedway. Tyler Reddick has been a frequent guest at our shows in the past, and we just really enjoy talking to Tyler, but we're really going to enjoy talking to him about his win. Tyler, welcome to the program, and a huge congratulations and bravo on a job really well done.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It's really nice to be back on the show again.
Well, it's great to have you back, and let's start with the obvious, Tyler. You have to be walking on cloud 9 right now, because I know this was a win that you felt like was achievable for you, but believing that you can and knowing that you did are two entirely different things.
Well, honestly, I had that mindset going into this year, not just at Daytona, but the majority, if not all, the racetracks this year. I feel really confident about our program and all the races we go to, on the plate tracks, on the mile and a half, the short tracks, and even the road course. We have outstanding equipment, and we have no excuse not to run in the top 5 every given race. So I have all the confidence in the world in my crew and my entire team, and being able to run up front every week in and week out should be a very achievable dream for us, and we should be able to have a good year.
Well, I would say that you certainly should be able to have a good year. You got it off to the best possible start. I'm not sure that a lot of people were necessarily surprised that you won, but Marshall Gabell and Kyle Magda were talking earlier about the fact that maybe some folks were surprised at the manner in which you dominated a lot of the race and were up front for quite a bit of it in the top 2 or 3, leading a bunch, and also your teammate Austin Terrio, who will be joining us here shortly on the program tonight. You guys just really were the show on Friday night.
Yeah, and I credit that to just great teamwork. Austin Terrio, it was his first race on the super speedway. He did an outstanding job. We have a great group of guys working on both the 19 and the 29. And they both did their part, and we were able to just have the ideal night that you would want to have as a team. Both of us were able to run up front through most of the race and stay out of all the trouble that occurred farther back in the race and in the pack there. So we were able to keep our noses clean for the most part, control the race, and it was a pretty easygoing race for both of us. It's a real shame that Austin was not able to hold on to second place, but still top 5 for both trucks in the first race is not a bad way to start the year for us.
Tyler, you mentioned confidence a lot, and I'm sure that after a Daytona win that, Tom mentioned being on cloud 9, and that's probably an understatement, but let's go back to the momentum and confidence thing. How much does that give you going into the rest of the season, not just at Atlanta this weekend, but even past that, just knowing that you have a win under your belt, and now you can go out and go get more?
Well, I feel like I had about just as much confidence going in as I had leaving. I was just again, super confident in my team. I know we're going to have great equipment at each racetrack. So I just knew it's just a matter of, okay, am I going to dig my nose hard enough into the ground and work for it? And we were able to do that at Daytona. Hard work paid off. And now as we're going into Atlanta, we got to show our competitors once we get a win, we're not going to back off. We're going to keep working just as hard as we did to get that first win. So we just got to keep working at it hard. We can't ever let up throughout the whole year, and it's just going to take hard work all year long and consistency to win championship, and I feel that we can do that.
Even though it's Daytona, do you feel like you've intimidated some of the other competitors, not just as yourself, but as a whole Brad Keselowski Racing squad? Do you feel like you've got a couple steps forward?
Well, I honestly feel like we had some people worried as we closed the year out with how fast in the closing part of the year we were able to improve our finishes from the beginning of the year to the end. I really feel like we were starting to get in the heads of some of the competitors out there, and I hope we are. It's always a good thing when you have your competitors thinking about us rather than themselves. It always helps us because we're just trying to focus on ourselves and make ourselves better. And definitely this win at Daytona I think is going to help some. But to win at Atlanta right following, it would do that even more so than just winning at Daytona, and we hope to be able to do that.
After the race, do you feel like, or not do you feel like, but did Brad Keselowski, your team owner, I know Austin came over in victory lane, but did Brad pull you guys aside and say anything to you guys?
He definitely said something. He was very happy with me and very happy with Austin. For him to have such a great run, his first race is outstanding, and for me to have my second run there in the truck, he was very happy to have come away with a win. As much as I would like to say I was the most excited person there, I would be lying to you guys if I said that Brad Keselowski. I'd be lying to you guys if I said that I wasn't, and definitely Brad was. He was the most excited person there. It's really hard to describe how long he's had to wait to get a victory at Daytona. He didn't get it driving the vehicle to victory lane himself, but he got it as a team owner. And I know it definitely meant a lot to him, and it definitely means a lot to me.
After the win, there's certainly been some ramifications. I mean, obviously, team owners saw that, watched that, and now they got their eye on you. Have you noticed any added eyes? Or I guess my question really is there any possibility now that after a Daytona win, you got a huge win on your resume? Do you think there's any possibilities with BKR being affiliated with Penske that you could step up into an Xfinity Series car this season, or has those discussions not been going yet?
No, most definitely the focus for me this year is winning a championship in the Camping World Truck Series for Brad Keselowski Racing. Everything else comes second, and it's not on my agenda right now. We got to focus on getting a championship this year for Brad. Everybody else associated, including myself, that comes first, and the rest can come second. But the only thing I'm thinking about right now is winning a championship, doing the very best I can for my team week in and week out.
Okay, so now let's look forward here. Obviously, you feel strongly about every track that you go to, but talk about Atlanta a little bit and talk about specifically what you feel like you're going to need to do in terms of driving the track and all of that. What does this track require to be a winner there? And, what have you got going on going into this weekend's event to try and make it 2 in a row?
Well, I don't want to say everything, but me and Doug Randolph we have some really good options going into Atlanta. They're going to let us, I guess you would consider it a test, like the Cup Series got to do today at Atlanta. They're going to let us have some data acquisition on the vehicles. So we're going to get to learn a little bit more than we normally would in a practice session. So we're going to be able to learn some things that we normally wouldn't, get a better idea what's happening on the truck. And I'm really looking forward to being able to have that stuff on the truck again and be able to put that to use again after, about a year since we've been able to do that. But we definitely know it's all about conserving tire. It's having the best truck at the end of a run. And, we're very limited on the sets of tires we have, so we have to take very good care of the tires we do have. And we have to make the right choices on when to come in on the pit road and know when to take tires and know when to, we got to stay out there and fight for every piece of track position we can get. We don't take tires, and when we do, we got to work really hard to get back to the front. So it's going to be interesting. Not a lot of tires, a lot of vehicles out there on the racetrack, and, we got 130 laps to get it done, and I feel like we can.
Well, I would say the odds are pretty good in your favor at this point. Now, I know that Marshall asked you about possibly running any Xfinity Series races. We know you're not planning to do that, but one of the coolest things that I like about you is that you came from a dirt track racing background, and we saw you a few times last year playing in the mini outlaw karts, the Middlebridge Speedway. Any chance we might see you out there having some fun in that again this year? Are there any plans to do any dirt track racing for you other than Eldora?
Well, I ran at Millbridge a little bit in my cart. We had a motor that I used to have a long time ago. It blew up, though, when I got it back. So that kind of ended that. But now that we won Daytona, we might have a little bit of money that I might be able to spend on getting a motor to run the Mini Outlaw if I decided to. But again, the main focus is all on the truck series and all on getting and having the best season possible. All of it comes second. So I'm gonna have some off time here, a couple months off in between some races. I have a little bit of time to mess around, but I just can't lose focus of what's important, and that's having the best run we can this year. But might be able to run some dirt too. Not sure. Like I said, gotta keep our eyes on the big picture and not get distracted.
Well, that works for me. Now, I love to give you guys a chance to talk about your sponsors and mention names of people who help you out. So have at it.
Well, of course, thank you. Really got to give a big thanks to everyone a part of Sequent Performance Products. From Draw Tight Hitches, we had Hitch Pro guys on our truck this weekend when we got them the win. They were all very excited about that. Reese Tow Power will be on the hood of our truck for Atlanta this weekend. We're going to have. We also got to thank Cooper Standard. They've been a primary sponsor on the 29 and a big part there for a long time. Got to thank Broken Bow BBR Music Group, Broken Bow Records, with Jason Aldean, Dustin Lynch, Joe Nichols, Thompson Square, Randy Hauser, Jason Aldean, all those great artists, and the up-and-coming artists as well. Got to thank Bell Helmets, Penske. They've been able to give some great support and give some great 7-post time to learn as much as we can and try and better our team as much as possible. And everybody else at the shop and who helps out, Simpson as well. Everyone that does their part, we're all in this together. We're all a team, and everybody does their very best to make our truck a winning truck. And we were able to do that at Daytona, and I hope we can do that again going into Atlanta.
Well, Tyler, I know you've had a busy week this week, and we certainly appreciate you taking some time before you think about Atlanta to talk with us here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show tonight, and wish you the best of luck going down the road this season toward your championship run. Hopefully we'll have you back on again soon after another win in the Truck Series.
Well, I promise to not keep you guys waiting that long. We're gonna win a few races this year, and we're not gonna make ourselves wait too long for that. We just got to keep our heads down in the ground and digging, for sure. Can't get distracted. We can't get caught up in the moment. We just got to keep working hard, and if we can do that, this year should be a great year for us.
That is Tyler Ruddick, the winner of last Friday's Truck Series race at Daytona. We are going to be talking to Tyler's teammate who was such a big part in helping him get to the win, Austin Theriault, in just a few moments. You are listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250, capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag, but drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
Ever hire, never quit. Lofty goals in this age of shoddy quality, corporate indifference, and built-in obsolescence. It's a beacon of light in a crowded field of mediocrity. The way a company is run is an indication of how you, the customer, is going to be treated. You have a lot of choices when you're searching for auto and performance parts online and at the corner parts store. So why should you buy from Excelsior Racing? Because they're simply the best online parts supplier in the business. If you're looking for selection, ease of ordering, cost, and prompt delivery, look no further. If you have a question, our customer service hotline, staffed by knowledgeable gearheads like you, will ensure that you get what you need to fix or mod your car or truck. With 1,000 suppliers, you're guaranteed to get what you need. First time, every time. Excelsior Racing. Excellence on the track. Excellence on the road. Excellence in customer service. Online at ExcelsiorRacing.com or call 502-909-2034.
All I wanted to do was just pick up a guitar and sing praise songs.
From IamSecond.com.
Well, when I got to 17, I was playing in after-hours bars, just in a bunch of trouble.
Grammy Award winner Michael W. Smith.
Smoking that first joint and feeling so guilty about it. From there, it was LSD, and your compass sort of just like disappeared. I knew where I belonged. I just couldn't get out. I was very depressed. I went on the floor and just began to shake. And I was just weeping. I was weeping. And I just began to just cry out for God. 12:30 at night, on the linoleum floor of my kitchen, the God of the universe came and wept with me on that floor. I know where my hope lies. It's not being a rock star. I'm a son of the High King of the universe.
Watch Michael's story at IamSecond.com.
Now, back to more with Tom and the Speed 77 radio crew. It's the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to tonight's Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Tom Baker along with Marshall Gabel. Kyle Magda will be rejoining us shortly, and we are about to talk to another young driver who factored seriously into the race for the checkered flag on Friday night at Daytona in the Camping World Truck Series, and a young man who was in his first super speedway start in the trucks. Austin Theriault joining us now, the second Brad Keselowski Racing, BK Racing driver. Austin, welcome to the program. It's good to talk to you again. And wow, man, you really did a fantastic job on Friday night.
Yeah, guys, it's good to be with you. I hope you're doing well, and we're just recovering, I guess, from the major snowstorm that we had here in Charlotte last. You know, coming from Maine, we kind of joke around with the Southern guys about how they deal with snowstorms down here. But yeah, we had a really good run there last Friday at Daytona. Like Tyler said, it would have been really cool to get a 1-2 for Brad, but you know, top 5 finish really a positive. Gives us a lot of positive momentum heading into the season with the 29 truck, because obviously we're running for the Owners' Championship and Tyler's running for the Drivers' Championship. So a lot of momentum for the BKR team, and we'll see if we can't get another one this weekend at Atlanta.
Well, let's before we talk more about Daytona, let's take a step back here and just get our audience up to speed. How did it come about for you with BK Racing for this season? And it was a bit of a surprise to me that this happened for you, but having known you for a year or two as I have and watched your race, you certainly are very deserving of the opportunity, as you proved last weekend. Talk a little bit about how this all came about.
Well, I think a lot of people were surprised by how it turned out, because at the end of 2013, granted, I might have my years mixed up because time flies when you're racing, but the end of 2013, Brad shut down the Super Late Model program that I had been a part of for about a year and a half. I had moved after graduating from high school to the Charlotte area to work in the shop and to be a part of the team. And you know, a part of that was racing on the weekend with the development program. So we had some success with that, but I think Brad got to a point where, and we're finally seeing the benefit. We're seeing the benefit of it. But he basically decided to focus on the truck program and sort of shutter the Super Late Model program. So that's why you saw me go a different direction in 2014. And you know, I'm very grateful for the opportunities at Junior Motorsports that I was able to learn a lot last year in the couple nationwide races and now Xfinity Series races that I was able to run. And fortunately, Ryan had success in 2014, 2013, and you know, he's moving up into the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series with Wood Brothers. So that opened up a seat in the 29 truck, and you know, I'm very fortunate to be in the position that I am now to run in an awesome truck for an awesome team, and you know, the rest is history.
Okay, so you roll into Daytona, and you're getting ready to run obviously the biggest race of your life, I would dare say, even though you had a start or two in the now Xfinity series with Junior Motorsports. But what are you thinking about? And the testing and going into the race itself. What was your goal going in? Did you feel like you had a chance to win, or were you really just thinking more about getting through it and getting the best finish you can and just learning as much as you could, or all of the above?
Well, it's kind of ironic that that NASCAR changed the rules at that point, because I noticed there were a lot of rookies running the race at Daytona this year, and I'm sure a lot of us didn't have any experience heading into it. But I think Daytona's a cool track as far as when you're with a new team and you're experiencing something new. It's a track where you can learn to communicate. You can get to know the guys that you're going to be working with for the rest of the year. So as far as that's concerned, I thought we had a really positive weekend, gelling. I'm sure we're going to have a good year with Chad Kendrick on top of the box, and he's got a lot of experience. He brings a lot of knowledge to the team. He had success with Ryan last year, so I'm looking forward to working with him. And heading into the race, as far as the expectations, I just wanted to finish. And as you saw, there was a lot of guys, a lot of veterans, and a lot of rookies that weren't able to finish the race. So I think anytime that you can take the white flag at Daytona as a win, potentially a win for your team. And then whatever happens on that last lap, you saw what happened. I thought we had second at least sewn up, but that's fine. We have another super speedway race coming up, and I'm really happy that Tyler was able to get the victory for himself. His first victory in the Truck Series. I'm not sure what it feels like, but hopefully one day I get to experience it. But happy for him and happy for the whole team that we were able to both finish in the top 5.
So let's move forward from Daytona now. Tom mentioned it starts with JR Motorsports. I don't think you're affiliated with them anymore now that you moved to the Penske and BKR team. Is there any plans for you to jump behind the wheel of an Xfinity Series car, or is it primarily just what you got going on in the Truck Series right now?
Well, it would definitely be a great opportunity if it were to present itself. But I have 13 races with BKR, and that to me is a huge step forward as far as my career. It's not where I want to be or where potentially I need to be, but I'm very thankful for what's in front of me, and to have another 12 or 13 or whatever it ends up being, to have that amount of races to learn and to grow as a driver, and to work with the team. I think we could eventually get to a point here very quickly, especially towards the end of the year, where like Tyler, we could run for wins week in and week out. And having Brad on the team and Joey and Ryan Blaney also driving the truck, there's just so much information that the both of us can learn from these guys. So it's going to be a great year, and I'm looking forward to it.
It seems like you're really looking at this as a learning curve season for you with the 13 truck races I think you mentioned with BKR. So let's talk about the learning a little bit here. What's the biggest thing that you're hoping to gain and really just get mentored to from Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, the big names like you mentioned that will be sharing that ride with you? Just really talk about what you're hoping to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think any driver, that's not lying to you will admit that anytime they go to the racetrack, they're probably learning something new. And, I'm definitely no different in that respect. I think I can learn from these guys. The biggest thing that I see is just gaining more seat time and understanding at these 1.5 miles and these faster tracks. I grew up racing short tracks. We all do. But then we get to a point in our careers where we have to move up and get outside our comfort zone and go, 180 or 200 at these 1.5 miles and super speedways. So the biggest thing is just learning what I need to get out of a race truck. What do I need to feel in practice? How is the track going to change? Those sorts of things that transition over to having a successful race. And what better way to sort of make the learning curve go quicker than to work with veterans that have done this and potentially made mistakes in their career. And so the goal is, to make as little, to make minimal mistakes, by learning from Brad and Joey and Ryan. But at the end of the day, I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes, but to have a good team to rely on is really going to be key.
You come from the short track background, like you mentioned, and that's really where Brad Keselowski Racing has thrived. And that kind of looks bad now that you just came off a Daytona win for the team. But your short track background is a country mile long. It's got a lot of background to it. So I don't know what's next for you on your schedule. Talk of where you're going to be running next and what your expectations are going into that track.
NASCAR has they actually made a couple exceptions as far as the rookies are concerned. So the guys running for Rookie of the Year and the guys that have like minimal NASCAR starts, I think there's an exception there. So we might be able to get to a test before I actually go to Kansas. But looking forward to that track, and from what I can tell, it's going to be exciting.
Well, we certainly hope that it will be exciting for you, and I'd love to see you get a win, and I believe that you're in a great position to do that before this year is out, maybe sooner rather than later. Congratulations on a great start to the year, and we certainly wish you all of the best for the rest of the season. Hope to be talking to you again real soon after a win. That is Austin Theriault from BK Racing, and look forward to talking to him down the road. Marshall, Austin Theriault is a driver that obviously has adapted very quickly. He adapted quickly to the now Xfinity Series car last year with Junior Motorsports. He adapted to the ARCA Series very quickly, and now he's adapted very quickly to the truck. You've got to believe that this young man has a very bright future in this sport.
We've seen what Tyler Reddick went through with BKR last season. Now he's got a Daytona win. And you got Ryan Blaney, who's been within the BKR system, who's now moved up to the Xfinity Series and even part-time in the Cup Series and looks to be on a great path. And then you have Joey Logano, who's ran part-time for Penske. You have Brad Keselowski, who's came through the Penske Protégé system. It's amazing to see what Penske has done with affiliation with Brad Keselowski, and I can't wait to see where Austin Theriault goes in that route as well, and it seems like he has a bright future ahead of him.
Well, it certainly looks like it, and it'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend at Atlanta. And with that, we are going to step aside. When we return, more discussion here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. More guests to talk to and more fun to have. You are listening to the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest. At WinYourNewCar.com, complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag. But drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Packers.
Vikings.
Red State.
Blue State.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But no matter how different we are, we're all connected, and we can all make a difference. That's why United Way brings people, expertise, and resources together to improve the education, income, and health of our communities, the building blocks for a better life. When we live united, our efforts, magnified by others, add up to real change. Children succeed in school, families gain financial stability, the health of our neighbors improves, and suddenly, so do our communities. But real change won't happen without you.
Live united.
So let's look beyond our differences.
Live united.
One by one, let's make a difference. Let's reach out a hand to one and influence the condition of all.
Live united.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Sign up today at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Tommy Barrett, driver in the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. Let's send it back to Speed 77 Radio, Stock Car Steel, SRI, Motorsports Show here on PMN, the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to tonight's show. We are talking motorsports here on the Performance Motorsports Network. It is the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. My name is Tom Baker. I am joined by Marshall Gabel and Kyle Magda from RaceChaserOnline.com. All three of us are, and we are talking NASCAR. We're going to divert our attention for a moment from the goings-on in the NASCAR National Series, drop down to the short track level, because Marshall Gabel, you had an interesting piece of news a little while ago that we want to share with everybody here.
Absolutely. Breaking news from the Southern Super Series just about an hour ago. It was released, and the Southern Super Series is set to return on April 11th to Fairground Speedway, Nashville. A huge announcement, considering this was not anywhere on the radar for the Southern Super Series until about speculation began about a month ago. So it's set to begin on April 11th, and it's going to be fun to watch. And it's in conjunction with the ARCA Racing Series, not the ARCA Racing Series, the main series. It's with the ARCA CRA Series. And so basically how it'll work is the CRA guys will go out for 200 laps, and then the Southern Super Series will battle for 100 laps after that. So it's going to be fun to watch, and it's now going to add up to 13 races for the Southern Super Series this season, and I think that's going to be a fun race to watch.
It is going to be a fun race to watch, and you're right. This was nowhere on the radar, and I want to revisit this issue a little bit later on in the program, this story, because Jacob Seelman will be joining us for the last portion of the show. And I want to really get his take on this, because after the situation with the Sunoco Super Series and Nashville regarding the infamous 400 race at the end of the year, Winchester, or the 400 at Nashville, I should say. I'm really surprised, honestly, to see this happen, but I'm happy to see it happen. I'm glad to see the Sunoco Southern Super Series back at Nashville, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays, and we'll talk more about that here in just a couple of minutes when Jacob Seelman joins us here on tonight's program. Meanwhile, I want to go back to Daytona and talk a little bit more in generality here, Marshall and Kyle, because now that we have been away from the weekend for a few days and really had a chance to digest the events as a whole when you take them together, I'm going to start with you on this, Kyle Magda. What is your biggest disappointment from the entire weekend at Daytona?
Probably we lacked the big one. I mean, we didn't really see what happened there, and I did not see that coming with the Cup race. I mean, we had that big one at the end, or that small one, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, disappointment. And there's so many stories you can bring because Daytona's Daytona. I mean, you never know when the big one's going to happen. You don't know whether you'll be caught up in it or not. The biggest disappointment, at least for me, probably would have been probably Justin Marks and Ron Hornaday for the dual races. Just neither of them couldn't get any help. It was just a bad break for them, and just for the single car team to try and get another big race, and it wasn't meant to be.
Okay, I'll throw it back to Marshall Gabel. Same question. As you look at the weekend overall from Daytona, all of the races, the duels, all of it, your biggest disappointment?
You know, I'm going to take a unique look at this because so many people would immediately jump to no big one, the something from the Cup race, the caution, the qualifying format. But the biggest disappointment for me was on Saturday. I mean, first off, Friday was bad enough after the Kurt Busch announcement came out, but then Saturday, NASCAR Xfinity Series race concludes. Kyle Busch has been taken off into an ambulance at a hospital. And, meanwhile, all these reporters and fans are all honed in, obviously, for, reasonable, obviously they had a good reason because Kyle was injured. But, throughout the weekend, it seemed like, aside from Joey Logano's win, the Xfinity Series and Camping World Truck Series winners were lost. You never really heard a lot about him. I mean, Saturday's win was huge for Ryan Reed, as Friday's was for Tyler Reddick, and it was disappointing for me to see those two drivers on the biggest stage of their career celebrating, obviously the biggest win of their career, and to have it overshadowed by the Busch brothers. Just bad situation for both of them, and it's just unfortunate that both of those drivers had sort of the attention taken off of them.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that, and I think if we could probably capsulize what you're trying to say is your biggest disappointment is the fact that the two winners in Friday's and Saturday's races were overshadowed by all the media attention on Kurt and Kyle Busch, and you're right, and I even think, and I think you pointed this out, that even applies to Joey's win in the Daytona 500 as well, and unfortunate. Don't want to spend a lot of time on this particular show discussing the Kurt Busch situation. We will do that next week. There are some events that are ongoing with this here that, want to give them a chance to play out, but I will have a blog on racechaseronline.com about this either tomorrow or Saturday, and I will just briefly mention that I think the fact that Kurt Busch has been suspended from NASCAR for allegedly committing an act of domestic violence, while Travis Quapple, who pleaded guilty to the same charge a little over a year ago and is still serving 2 years probation, still on probation, is racing on Sunday, has certainly put another spin on this that I'm not sure is entirely good, and I think it's a bit of a slippery slope. So keep your eye on racechaseronline.com for my blog about that, and then we'll have some discussion on next Thursday's show following that Atlanta race, just to give that situation a little more time to play itself out. But certainly the fact that both of the Busch brothers ended up not competing in the Daytona 500, obviously for very different reasons. That is my biggest disappointment of the weekend, because both of them had a legitimate shot to win the race, and both of them are polarizing figures in the sense that you either like them or you don't. There seems to be no middle ground, but regardless of that, you pay attention to them and they put on a show. And when I look at the weekend as a whole, my biggest disappointment is that neither of those two were able to run the 500, though I was very happy to see Regan Smith and Matt Crafton have that opportunity. Regan will have the opportunity, of course, to compete once again in the 41 car for Stewart Haas Racing this Sunday at Atlanta, and Marshall, the 18 car. And this is where the NASCAR world started to kind of tilt on its axis here as we got into the week. Let's touch on this now, and then we'll talk more about it after the break. But Marshall, David Reagan, out of nowhere,
if you want to go where it really came from, it was out of left field. I mean, we got to give it a spot. A huge shocker. It was speculation, and then boom, David Reagan from Front Row Motorsports, a Ford organization, tabbed to drive the number 18 Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. It's a huge shocker. And now this David Reagan, who raced with Roush Fenway a few years ago, as you may remember, won at Talladega in 2013, and now he's got a shot to play on the big stage again in a car that has had success here in last season and previous. Joe Gibbs Racing is a very stabilized organization, and it's certainly going to be interesting to see what David Reagan can do behind the ropes.
Well, it certainly will be interesting, and Jacob Seelman has joined us now. Jacob, real quick, in about 30 seconds, David Reagan. What?
Okay, so I've got a secondary point that I'll make here in a couple of minutes, but for right now, my answer to this is Roush Fenway Racing, the official development team for Joe Gibbs Racing. That's basically all I've got. I have no clue where this came from. It's bizarre. It's a great step for Reagan, but, if he doesn't perform, it's going to be absolutely disastrous because it basically cements where he is in the sport. It's his last shot. I mean, we say there are sometimes second chances. There's not going to be a third. If Reagan can't step up and perform in the 18 car, which we know is top equipment, then yikes. Hold on, boys.
Well, if his initial run in the car at Atlanta today is any indication, it looks like perhaps he may do just exactly that. And with that, we are going to step aside. We're going to come back and talk more about David Reagan and the whole situation with how this came together and what it means going forward, because a lot of people are a little confused by this, how this can happen between teams and such. We'll talk more about that in a moment. We've got more guests to come. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
In the Pits Media is proud to present its newest partner, WinYourNewCar.com. That's right, you now can enter the #1 American Dream Car Contest giveaway at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hands can do incredible things. They made every sound in this piece of music. But nothing compares to using them to help save a life. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. It's called hands-only CPR, and it's recommended by the American Heart Association. Visit handsonlycpr.org today. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right in the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
All I wanted to do was just pick up a guitar and sing praise songs.
From IamSecond.com.
Well, when I got to 17, I was playing in after-hours bars, just in a bunch of trouble.
Grammy Award winner Michael W. Smith.
Smoking that first joint and feeling so guilty about it From there, it was LSD, and your compass sort of just like disappeared. I knew where I belonged. I just couldn't get out. I was very depressed. I went on the floor and just began to shake. And I was just weeping. I was weeping. And I just began to just cry out for God. 12:30 at night, on the linoleum floor of my kitchen, the God of the universe came and wept with me on that floor. I know where my hope lies. It's not being a rock star. I'm a son of the High King of the universe.
Watch Michael's story at IamSecond.com.
Here we go with more of the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to tonight's program. You're listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Tom Baker, Marshall Gabel, Jacob Seelman joining us now, and Kyle Magda joining us as well. All of us from RaceChaserOnline.com. And Jacob, I'm going to come back to you on this. Want to kind of get more into the whole timeline of the David Reagan situation and how this actually came about. Jacob, run us through the timeline here and talk about exactly how David Reagan ended up in the Joe Gibbs Racing 18.
Okay, I'll make this really simple. Joe Gibbs Racing was in a pinch after Saturday night because everybody's going, what do we do? Kyle Busch is hurt. So Matt Crafton, who was one of a couple of possible options. Elliott Sadler, I know, was potentially loaned by Ford, but Crafton got the call for the Daytona 500. On Monday, we hear that Eric Jones has gone to NASCAR to get a cup license approved for 1.5 miles on down tracks, which NASCAR granted. But then Tuesday morning, I start hearing rumors that David Reagan's meeting with Joe Gibbs Racing about going to the 18 car. And I sat here and I looked at that and I went, wait, what? I don't know exactly. This happened very quickly, Tom. The first we heard about it was Tuesday morning, and then by Tuesday evening, it was done. David Reagan was in the 18 car, and Eric Jones has taken over the 54 Monster Energy machine. So it was basically a snowball effect. It was like somebody snapped their fingers, and all of a sudden, everything we thought we knew, we didn't actually know. And now you've got 3 former Roush Fenway Racing drivers on the Joe Gibbs Racing squad, and David Reagan gets to bounce ideas off of his 2 former teammates and play fill-in. It's not an easy job, but when you're 15th on the board during open testing this afternoon, he's proven he's still got it in him, and I think, like Marshall said in his blog earlier this week, Reagan could surprise some people. So it's going to be fun to watch.
I agree. Well, it will be fun to watch. And just very quickly, for those wondering, well, how does this affect the chase? The chase for the Cup is all about the driver. If David Reagan wins a race of the 18 and Kyle Busch steps back into the 18 prior to the chase, David Reagan goes back to the 34. The 34 goes into the chase with David Reagan, and Kyle Busch is now eligible with the 18 car for the owner's Sprint Cup chase for the Cup. So going to be very interesting to see how that works out. We wish David the best of luck. We'll keep people updated on what's going on with that later. Very quickly, though, want to turn a bit, Jacob, to an interview that we were able to get for this show with Mason Mitchell. We were trying to get him on live, couldn't work the schedule out, but Mason now going to be running the next ARCA race. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this means for him. And let's listen to what Mason Mitchell had to tell us.
Talking with Mason Mitchell in advance of the ARCA Racing Series returning to action, the youngest team driver and owner in the ARCA Racing Series. And Mason, first off, glad to have you back on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. And you just announcing that you're going to be running the ARCA race at Mobile coming up here in a couple of weeks. You guys are testing today in advance of the first short track race of the season, trying to get everything situated for both your cars, yours and Austin Self's. But I'm more curious how the deal came about. We didn't expect to see you in a car, at least much for the start of the season, and now here you are. You've run Daytona and going to try to get things on track at Mobile as well.
Well, first off, it's a great opportunity to be back in the show, and thank you for that opportunity. And yeah, like you said, it's cool to announce today here in Mobile with Tommy Prater and everybody in the Mobile facility, make it happen for this Mobile race weekend, and announce that I'll be returning and hopefully going after one of those Crosley jukeboxes. That's the main goal. But yeah, we're down here testing and trying to get the 98 car dialed in. That's the main goal. We brought a new car with a composite body on it. Austin is going to be testing it a lot and trying to get that thing dialed in. But looking forward to the race weekend, especially now after the news, and just thankful for all the opportunity.
I'm curious now, because obviously by the time we're done with Mobile next month, it's going to be 2 races into the season, and it's still really, really early to tell. I'm sure you're just taking this one step at a time, but with the way things are going right now, if you can get things on track and really get some momentum going at Mobile, could this be the start of an unexpected title defense, or are you just kind of taking the opportunities one race at a time?
For sure, taking it one race at a time. I don't have plans to defend the title at all, to be honest. That's, the 98 team job, and Austin, they're going to go out there and have some fun and go out there and battle for that championship. I'm just logging in for every single opportunity that I can get behind the wheel to make it happen and try to win the race. And just try to feel anything and get nervous. Do what I wasn't able to do last year. I went after the championship and was really consistent this year. I have nothing to lose and going to do everything we can to win. And I think I'm just really aggressive at Daytona trying to get up to the front. But just one step at a time. I think I got some more races on the schedule. But as of right now, it's been about defending a title, and then hopefully going to be able to move up in the NASCAR rankings.
Looking at Mobile, obviously it's the first short track race of the season, but more than that, it's the first race for ARCA with the new composite bodies. They're not running them on the super speedways yet, but for the short tracks, it definitely changes the game a little bit. You guys have gotten a little bit of an opportunity to work with them. What are some of the differences that you guys have noticed, or what are some of the differences that are going to make this changeover in the long run better for the teams?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Austin will be driving the composite body. My car is still the steel body that I raced at last year. That was an amazing car for us. So it's not mandatory; it's an option. And I think with the way the rules are, they're I don't know if one's going to favor one or not, but it's going to be really fun. With this test opportunity that we have, we're going to be able to learn a lot that people don't know of yet, especially the composite bodies. There's a lot of differences. The body is wider, punches a bigger hole in the air. It's taller, less downforce. So the aero differences is huge. With the look of it, it's so cool, and the fans are definitely going to be in for a show.
Obviously, you guys look to put on a show every time you get on the racetrack, but for you it's a little bit different because while you're running these first 2 races, obviously you're very focused as well on the team side of things, trying to help in a management role, and just, as you said to me over the off-season, really taking a lot of pride in doing it yourself. How important, how much of a good feeling has that been for you, being able to take the changes of adding Austin to the team in stride and really even adjusting for you to run these first couple of races? I mean, as we talked, you've watched guys like Tony Stewart come up through this and ultimately do the owner-driver thing, and I know that's really a point of polish and something that you look on with a lot of pride to be able to do that yourself at such a young age.
Absolutely. I think it's just a taste of our future as an organization here, and creating talent and giving them all the opportunity that they need to be successful with Motorsports and ARCA Racing Series. The role I'm in right now, I enjoy it. I mean, I feel like I know I want to continue driving, and this definitely isn't the end of anything. It's just the beginning of an amazing journey that we're all here to witness and be a part of. And that's why every opportunity I get behind the wheel, I'm going to make the most of it. And I'm working behind the scenes on my stuff. But mainly importantly, the company is the big key to our success here, and making sure that Austin has every tool that he needs to utilize to be successful behind the wheel, and make sure that my guys, the crew, and everybody has what they need to build really fast race cars. And so far, this offseason's been a successful one. Daytona, we would like to finish a little bit better with Austin and 2018, but to come out there with a clean car and finishing on the lead lap is your primary goal in every race you go to, and you'll still contend for a championship. So I'm enjoying it, and we're just going to keep on working harder, if not harder than last year, and trying to go out to the championship. That's all we really care about is being successful. I do care less about making millions. All I care about the trophies and the winning races and championships and rings.
Well, I know none of those wins and accolades is possible by yourself, Mason, and being the owner and the driver, you've got a lot of people to thank, I'm sure. Who makes it happen for Mason Mitchell Motorsports?
Well, we have a great staff here, crew, and team members on board that are relentless and willing to do anything that it takes to make it to the racetrack or just to keep on R&D in and being successful. Also with partnerships this year with Bands, Technical Solutions, Pirate Energy, Avis, a lot of people that are helping out this 98 team in Austin be successful. It's just a bunch of great companies and organizations and people and his family and my father that's involved who gives me advice. So just huge effort, and I'm really looking forward to it.
And we're looking forward to seeing you on track at Mobile here in just a couple of weeks, Mason. Best of luck for both you and Austin, and hopefully we can see one of the cars in Victory Lane and have one of you guys back on the show following that event.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be on, and I hope we'll be back on soon.
That's Mason Mitchell, and now we'll send it back to the guys in the studio.
And thanks for that great opportunity to hear from Mason and Jacob. Definitely interesting turn of events here. I know he had hoped to obviously be running in the Truck Series this year, but looks like ARCA is what he's got for right now, and I know he wants to make the most of that.
Yeah, he does for now. So we'll just see. He wants one of those custom Mobile trophies, the jukebox that they hand out. So we'll see if he can get a short track win here in a couple of weeks. It's coming up quick, but right now it's going to be a whole lot of fun. We're going to step aside for just a moment, but Kyle Weatherman's coming up in just a moment to talk with us live here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. You're listening to it right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
On the air, you may know me as the man about motorsports. Actually, I've been the man about insurance for over 30 years. With one call, I can cover your life, health, auto, home, and business insurance. Recently, I saved a young couple over $500 on their annual car insurance bill. No gimmicks and no green lizard. So if you think your insurer is really your good neighbor who is on your side because he is holding your money in his good hands, think again. Call me, 703-631-8000. I have dozens of insurance companies waiting to give you the protection you need and deserve. It may take more than 15 minutes, but you'll receive sound advice, quality professional service, and an honest opinion. That number again, 703-631-8000. Ask for Larry O.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it, and it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He'd guide us to that ultimate victory.
Watch Tony's story at IamSecond.com.
Hi, this is Spencer Davis driving a NASCAR Wheeling Southern Modified Series. Let's send it back to Speed 77's radio, Stock Car Steel's SRI Motorsports Show, here on PMN, the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the night show. Tom Baker along with Marshall Gabell and Jacob Seelman now talking motorsports with you on a Thursday night, and we hope that you are warm and dry wherever you are listening to us here this evening. And Jacob, we're rolling right along here, and Kyle Magda with us as well, but not to be confused, we've got another Kyle on the telephone who's just had a pretty interesting news release this week.
Yeah, I scratched my head for about 2 seconds, and then it started to make sense, but I'm going to let him make more sense than me. Kyle Weatherman joining us back on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. And Kyle, first off, glad to have you back on, and I'm rather excited about your new deal for 2015. You and Roush Fenway Racing taking the development partnership over to Cunningham Motorsports. Talk a little bit about how the deal came about, and I'm sure you've got to be excited going into this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I really am. It's gonna be good. It really is. You know, we've always had a relationship with Cunningham Motorsports, and we kind of brought them in the door a little bit with Roush, but then Robbie Reiser and Eric Peterson over at Roush actually got it all handled and all that. And now I'm actually up in the shop, helping them out, turning some wrenches and all that, and getting everything going. So getting ready for Mobile test.
You guys are getting ready to test down there. I'm sure you're already anticipating the first short track show of the season. But for you, I think the biggest change that you've got going into 2015 is the fact that ARCA's announced the new deal with the short track challenge, that it's basically a championship within a championship for you guys that aren't old enough yet to run the 1.5 miles and up the big tracks. You still get to run for points and really kind of get to show your stuff on the tracks that you can run. Is that going to change your mindset at all going into this? Because before it's been all about the wins, but now you've got a little bit more of something to play for.
Oh yeah, for sure. We go there to win for sure. So it won't change the aspect of that. But we if it comes down to it, and we're actually in it there at the end there, we'll be more conservative there. But other than that, we go to the racetrack to win for sure.
All right, so let's look at this, because Mobile, the first time for you on track in a little while, this test session, I'm sure, not necessarily going to be knocking the rust off, but getting back into the swing of things. But how tough does it make it for you, or does it at all, transition into a new team and having that on top of getting back in the race car for the first time this year?
It'll be a little difficult, kind of just learning what Paul Andrews and all the guys want to hear back, feedback wise. But it'll be good. Good learning curve for both of us. Both learning new things that each other will like. So it'll be good. Starting off fresh. With a clean plate. And going into Mobile with we're gonna be testing and then going into the race. So it'll be good to get to know each other and stuff like that for sure.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about Paul Andrews, because this is a new pairing for you with him. And Paul, obviously an amazing pedigree in the sport. Tell me a little bit about the conversations you've had so far in terms of how you're coming with the chemistry. What are the expectations? What are you guys working through at this point to get yourself off to a competitive start?
Like I said earlier, I'm in the shop, every day of the week. So, we're getting to know each other well, on that aspect. And, we're making a bond there. So it's really cool. It really is. He's a great guy. He knows a lot. So, he's going to be teaching me all kinds of tricks that he's got up his sleeve. So, it'll be good. The crew chiefs that I worked with before, kind of using their knowledge and the knowledge I have now, and kind of combining it, should have a pretty decent start here for sure.
Well, it certainly has the opportunity to be, and the Roush Association here, does that put any extra pressure on you in terms of performance? I mean, this is obviously a new group coming together. Any sense of heightened pressure to perform well, or is this just been a very comfortable situation for you in terms of, look, go out and learn and just do what Kyle does best?
Absolutely. I really feel if me and Paul work together well, which we are for sure. I think if we just both keep our minds on straight and doing what we do best, the results will come. So we're not going to get too far ahead of what we got. We're going to work at it one step at a time, and then keep on moving forward. And if everything goes well, then we'll have the results to show it. So it's going to be fun going on moving forward in this 2015 season. Working with Cunningham Motorsports and Rushville Racing will be really cool.
Is there something that you can point to say this is going to be the biggest change or the biggest obstacle I'm going to have to overcome? The biggest difference in my situation from before to now?
I believe this is a good turning point, and the future and moving forward. They've brought up 3 or 4 good drivers that are in the Xfinity series, and even the Cup series now. So they've brought up a lot of good guys, a lot of good talent and all that. I'm excited. Like I said earlier, I'm really excited to get working with all these guys. Paul Andrew, he knows all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be fun, moving forward and working with these guys for the next couple of years. And hopefully we get everything straight. It will end up how we all want to turn out here. So we'll see how it goes. So.
You got a veteran teammate now at Cunningham, and that'll be Tom Hessard, who's had a couple seasons under his belt now in the ARCA Racing Series and a lot of success for that matter. How much have you had conversations with him, and how much do you expect him to be able to help you both at the racetrack and even in the shop?
We really haven't actually talked much yet. If we walk by at the track, I used to wave to him or say hello or whatever. But he's a great guy. He really is. He knows a lot. And like you said, he's a veteran. He's been in it for a while. He knows all the little tricks and all that kinds of stuff at every racetrack. So he's going to be a good guy to lean towards. Any questions or any comments that he has, I'll definitely absorb. And just keep on building. And that's one of the main things I like to focus on is working as a team. And as an organization, and build together. And I believe if like I said earlier, if we all build together, I think the organization will grow as a team. So like I said, I'm excited to get this going. I can't wait. It feels like it's taking forever. So we'll see here.
Absolutely. And now that you're in the ARCA Racing Series, obviously the deal's done. But what was the decision? I mean, I know that it probably had to come up at least once. What was the decision to decide between going to the ARCA Racing Series or the K&N Pro Series East, or was it just whatever deal presented itself?
Right. That's really Roush's call, to be honest. And they just liked. I'm not really old enough yet, but they like the mile and a half and stuff like the Xfinity series goes to. They want the drivers development series to kind of get a feel for what is up to come. If everything falls and plays out right. So the K&N series really doesn't go to much mile and a half or stuff like that. So that's kind of kind of really why we lean more towards the ARCA series. And there's great short tracks that give you car control and stuff like that, which will help build experience and stuff like that moving forward also. So that's really Roush's theory behind that, and that's why we're in the ARCA series. So.
Well, Kyle, obviously with a new team, it's a new list of sponsors, but I'm sure you'll get plenty of practice with this question real quick. I know you can't do it by yourself. Who makes it happen for you and the team?
Oh, my dad. He's been behind me 100%. Ever since I've been 8, driving go-kart. And even before that, he's been behind me. My whole family has my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, just everybody. Without their support and their courage behind me and everything like that, I definitely would not be where I'm at today. And I got to thank Odyssey Battery, Carlisle McNair. Without those guys, I wouldn't be here also. So I got to thank them for sure. So it's cool. I'm really excited to get this 2015 season going. I can't wait. So.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to come back on and talk with us, Kyle. Looking forward to seeing you hit the track at Mobile, and hopefully we'll have you back on later this season. I know you're still looking for that first ARCA win and hoping it gets here sooner rather than later.
Oh, absolutely. And I appreciate you guys for having me on. I always have fun on your guys' show here, and I appreciate it, sir.
No problem. That's Kyle Weatherman, and we are going to take care of a little more business, come back, and have a little more fun here on the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show. You're listening to it on the Performance Motorsports Network.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest. At WinYourNewCar.com, complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right at the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444 and ask for Sue.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit stockcarsteel.com Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your #1 source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
And now, back to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show with Speed 77 Radio's most follically challenged host, Tom Baker.
And I got all 5 of them cut this week, too. So
hey,
this is follically challenged now.
This is fun because you're the follically challenged one, and I took all your style tonight. So I'm just on a roll.
Well, you kind of overdressed coming in to do a radio show in a tux, but all right, we'll let that go. You definitely get style points for that for sure. Although I'm not sure that you win out flat out over Bunky, but we'll discuss that later. Jacob, you wanted to touch upon a couple of quick points about Mason Mitchell.
Yeah, I did for just a minute because I know he's downplaying it. I really know he's downplaying it. But seeing him in this Mobile race just really has... it's made some things intriguing because I know he says he has no plans of chasing the ARCA championship for a second year in a row, and that the focus is behind Austin Self and the 98 team to do that. But Tom, can't you imagine if the opportunities aren't there to go truck racing, as a racer, you want to be back behind the wheel. And for Mason, if that's the only option is to go and run these ARCA races and make a splash and see what you can do, I would take it, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, the prevailing theory is that racers should be racing, and Mason obviously owns the team. So it isn't as if he's got to get permission from anybody.
Yeah, he can do it. He can do what he wants.
Prepares a car, goes and runs. I know that they're really behind Austin Self, and I'm sure that that's going to be the main focus for the team. They want to obviously get Austin a championship in much the same way as Mason won it last year. But I think Mason should keep racing if he has the opportunity to, because, out of sight, out of mind in a lot of ways in the sport. It doesn't take long, and so it's got to be a tough dilemma for him. Let's put it like that. He really had hoped that he would have something in the Truck Series when they made that move. He kind of denies that or poo-poos that, but I'm sure that had to be the ultimate hope there, and it just didn't come together for him as of yet. But for goodness sake, it oughta. I mean, any truck teams out there and potential sponsors, get behind this kid, put him in the truck, let's go. He won't disappoint you. But it's very interesting to see this, and I think it's good for Austin, though. I think it's good to have the teammate. It's always good to have a teammate on the track, and those two seem to get along very well. So hopefully it works out for him.
That's what I'm hoping. And he mentioned the Mobile race and the really cool trophy. And I want to go back to that a second, Tom, because you talk about the Nashville Fairgrounds short track that the ARCA series is going to in April. And they give out the guitar trophies when you go to Nashville. Well, Mobile International Speedway has a similar musically themed idea, but they went with a jukebox. And Grant Enfingers took home 2 of those. I love those jukeboxes. The Crosley trophies are absolutely gorgeous, and it's one of the most unique trophies of anywhere that the series goes. And it's going to be a special one for whoever walks away with it, because if I go back in my history books correctly, this race has been run 3 times, and all 3 times an Alabama driver has ended up winning it. The first year it was Cale Gale, and then the most recent 2 have been Grant Enfinger. So the home state boys are undefeated so far.
And Jacob, it it's much harder to smash a jukebox than it is a guitar, I would imagine.
This is true. It's a lot harder to have a Kyle Busch moment like we did at Nashville in what, Tom? 2008, I think it was.
I think it was 2008. And it's funny you mentioned that jukebox trophy because I just saw a picture of that earlier today on I think it was on Facebook somewhere, and I looked at it and I'd kind of forgotten about that, to tell you the truth. I looked at it and went, wow, that's really different. I'm waiting, being a drummer for the last 44 years of my life, I'm kind of waiting for the drum set trophy. I'm waiting for a track to come up with that idea. Would certainly be a much larger trophy, I would think. But definitely an interesting scenario brewing there. Now, speaking of the Sunoco Super Series, Marshall told us earlier on the program that the Fairgrounds Nashville has worked out a deal with the Sunoco Super Series to bring them back on April the 11th, I think is what Marshall said.
Yeah, in tandem with the ARCA race, as a matter of fact, Tom.
I found that to be very curious.
Curious would... I like it too, but curious would be an understatement, Tom. Sorry to just jump in right there, but the last time that the Sunoco Southern Super Series left Nashville Fairgrounds, they thought they were coming back for the All-American 400.
Yes.
And then cue sound effect, dun, dun, dun. That did not go over well.
What it was.
Yeah. It turned into a pro late model race, and that was a relative flop compared to what the All-American 400 usually is. And the drivers weren't happy, and the crews weren't happy, and it was just a mess. So I don't know if this is signaling the start of something, maybe a revival of the Southern Super Series and Nashville's relationship. I know it's a little rocky, but hey, if this event goes well in April, who knows? We've seen stranger things happen before. Just ask Joe Nemechek.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I found that to be interesting. Was not expecting that announcement, and Marshall broke that for us a little earlier on in the program.
Yeah, and take a scorecard and keep track of your players. So speaking of Marshall breaking things, let's not break the scoring pylons here, but we will at least get an update, Marshall, because while we're on the short track subject for a minute, the winter showdown this weekend out west, Kern County Raceway Park, I believe. I'm not looking at all my notes here, so watch me go and screw something up. But a big late model event out west. When you pull guys like Bubba Pollard, Preston Peltier, all these guys who are known for wreaking havoc up and down the East Coast, you pull them out west, it's a big show.
$25,000 to win at Kern County, and practice is about to end here soon. And we talk about one of the Southern Super Series. One of their drivers is leading at the top of the boards right now, Bubba Pollard, and he's doing a great job showing off for the East. He's got about a 10th over the rest of the field in practice. Derek Thorne, one of the champions in the K&N Pro Series West, he's second. David Mayhew, he's third, and a guy that we had on the show just a few weeks ago, Dalton Sargent, who finished second in his New Smyrna debut, he's fourth. And then one of the Jefferson Pit Racing guys in the K&M West, Grayson Raz, he's fifth on the leaderboards right now. But yeah, it's certainly going to be a fun event to watch, and you can head over to @RaceChaserNews on Twitter, and we will certainly have updates from that event throughout the weekend. The race is set to begin, I believe, Saturday.
Let's see, Tom. Dalton Sargent, Grayson Raz, you go up that top five, and a bunch of them have been on this show recently, but that's an all-star top five if there ever was one. You consider Bubba Pollard being on top of the leaderboard. We're not surprised by that, but I mean, Derek Thorne's right up there. We know how good he is. The competition, this might be the most stacked late model race I've seen out west in a long, long time. I mean, this is one of the biggest events that they've even staged out there in years. For it to draw this caliber of a field, I mean, this could be as interesting as some of the past super late model events we get over here on the East Coast side. That's what some of these guys are expecting, especially from the depth of field.
Well, Marshall, my first thought when I looked at this top 5 was looks like a K&N race. I had to check myself.
There
to
you
make
go.
sure we were talking about late models.
Yeah, and there's a reason why there's such a big draw out to this West event. You don't typically see these East guys like Bubba Pollard go out all the way over west to Kern County. But the reason is it's $25,000 to win, and that's huge for a late model race. I mean, it's worth the travel out there if you can win it. So that's what the big draw is, and that's why everyone's coming out to try and win it. Dylan Lupton's in the field. There's a bunch of guys that are spread up and down this entry list, and that's really what the draw's been. So it's going to be interesting to see who can get the $25,000. That's going to be a huge bonus for any team.
Yeah, have some money.
Yeah, yeah, have a lot of money actually for a late model race. That's a lot of money, and it's a fun race because it's almost this to me is. It's almost as if you took the excitement and the magnificence of the Snowball Derby and just put it at the beginning of the season and took it out west. That's really the thing that I compare it to the most is, in terms of the all-star sort of ambiance there, is it feels to me like a Snowball Derby in the spring out west.
Yes, and actually I talked with Grayson Raz earlier this afternoon before practice, and he said that's exactly what it feels like out there. It's the strength of field of the Snowball Derby, bring it out west and have a little fun with it. And I know it doesn't pay actually, I would have to go back and check that. This may pay about what the Derby pays to win. I mean, it's going to be very, very exciting on Saturday night, Tom, when these guys get to going, and it's one of those situations where I feel like maybe race control may have the toughest job of all, because it's like Grayson and I were talking, one of those events where you get down to the last 10 laps and there's 25 grand on the line and you can see and perhaps reach the bumper of the leader. You'll move anybody to win this race, and you just want to move. Yeah, we've seen that before. You just want to move them without dumping them. Marshall, 51 cars on the entry list for this event. I mean, you talk about it. This is not a small field.
It absolutely isn't. And one of the guys close to Bubba Pollard, he said that their hauler traveled 2,653 miles to be a part of this event. That's just a statement right there to show how many people are coming out to race for $25,000.
Oh, absolutely. And
not to mention, some of that was on icy roads across the country with all the weather that's been going on.
Yeah, you speak for yourself. I didn't get any of that. So you guys have fun with all your snow and your ice and all that pretty looking stuff. I'll just sit here and look at the dry pavement outside my window. Real quick.
Go ahead, Jay.
I was going to say, real quick, Tom, want to circle back to Atlanta for just a moment, because obviously talking about the weather, it's going to be interesting to see how this weekend shakes out. But we got a doubleheader for the trucks in the Xfinity Series on Saturday, and then, of course, the Cup race on Sunday. I picked Casey Kane, you picked Kevin Harvick, Marshall picked Martin Truex, and of course, not really the time to get into our truck and Xfinity picks, but it's going to be a packed weekend. They've already had 2 sessions of testing today. How much track time can you cram into 3 days of racing?
Well, I don't know, but they're sure going to try to max it out. And I love doubleheader Saturday. To me, I think that's how NASCAR should do it every weekend. And instead of having both of the National Series for the majority of them, let's bring in the late models. Let's bring in the modifieds. Let's do some things like that and have some fun. And I just think that's awesome, Jacob.
Yes.
And I can't wait. Saturday is going to be a great day to watch racing.
It's going to be a great day if you're a race fan, and I'm excited to watch it. I know you guys are too, but right now I'm seeing a checkered flag in our future, which means we're basically done here on tonight's Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports show. It's been fun, boys. So for Marshall Gabel, Tom Baker here at the round table with me, Kyle Magda joining us earlier in the show, and Kyle Souza, who's off somewhere fighting the weather, I'm sure. Thanks to Bob behind the glass, and of course, as always, keep it off the wall until we meet again, and we just might see you at the racetrack. Have a safe racing weekend, everybody. Good night.
You've been listening to the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Tonight's show is brought to you by Stock Car Steel and Aluminum and SRI Supplies. For all of your racing needs, visit StockCarSteel.com and SRI-Supplies.com. Keep up with the latest motorsports news every day on Race Chaser Online. The Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com, a member of the Scorpion Radio Group, Inc., and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week for more great motorsports programming right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.